We are here in beautiful Jamaica, and I'm sitting down with my longtime beautiful friend Carmelinda, who is a former nightclub promoter, event planner. She's a yoga teacher, leads retreats, and an amazing DJ. And today she's going to share her journey of the last 20 years from the day we met to where she is now. And she is somebody that I respect, admire, and truly love. And just to give you a bit of a visual, we're literally sitting on the balcony of our hotel room with the ocean to the left of us and birds tweeting all around us. So if there's any background noise, I apologize for that, but we're literally sitting on a beach right now. Wow. Well, I know quite a bit about your story. I mean, we've been friends for 1998. 98 or 99?
Something like
Almost
that.
20 years. Your story and journey has been one that obviously I've kept track of, and we've, as like most friends, you're close, you drift apart, you're close, you drift apart. And I know a lot about your journey, but I want you to share kind of the details of that and how you went from, when we worked together, you're one of our promoters and hosts, and then you got into event planning, and then to yoga, and then DJing, and then now leading your own retreats, which involve all of that.
Yes.
So when you decided to leave our company and become competition, I know up to that point all the details. So what happened next?
Okay. So from that point, I stayed in the field of hospitality. I investigated doing my own events in nightclubs. So I carried on with that a little bit. But I felt compelled at that point to move out of the nightclub industry. That's when I studied event management. So I went to Humber, I did that. And I got into catering, event management for venues. I worked with an event design company. And then I just noticed that there was always this curiosity about doing a teacher training, so studying yoga a little bit more deeply because I recognized how it supported me. Not because I wanted to be a teacher. So I did my training when I had a job at a venue, and I thought I'd keep my job. I just took some time off, did a teacher training with Moksha. Loved it. Felt like teaching actually happened relatively easily. So it was a new challenge, but it felt good. It didn't feel like something I wasn't going to be able to do well. And that sense of accomplishment continued to, I guess, feed my curiosity about taking it deeper. And so I started to teach a little bit, and that evolved pretty quickly. I think within a year of teaching, I led one of my first retreats, which is pretty awesome because I think for a lot of people, they wait a long time before trying to do that. Holding space for people outside of a yoga studio, taking them away for a few days or a week. There can be a lot of pressure with that, but I wanted to do it. So I led my first one in Nicaragua. It went really well, and I've come to know some very talented teachers that I've developed really great relationships with. So the conversation just kind of came up more and more to lead retreats. And so I lead retreats in Ontario that I love, weekend retreats like wine and yoga and dancing. The one that you were at, which was pretty wild, that 3-day retreat. And then I just take people. I take people where I want to go and where I think there would be some, healing opportunity for people. So we do Costa Rica retreats. We did an Ibiza retreat. I believe that music supports healing. I believe that nature supports healing. yeah, so that's kind of brought me to this point with the Tomorrow Today Festival.
Okay, and the DJing. How did that happen? Because I mean, I know you love music, and I know you love to dance, and then all of a sudden you're DJ. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But when I heard you're DJing, I'm like, wow, oh, that's cool. So
Cool.
how did
Thank you.
that happen?
Yeah, I like that you think it's cool because most people think it's like completely in conflict.
Oh,
I get that a lot. People think that it's unusual that a person would be a yoga instructor and DJ, but I actually feel like they're really similar.
yeah. Yoga is about the flow of the human body. It's about being conscious of the body, letting go of your thoughts and inhibitions, and just moving. Right? I mean, that's
Yes.
how I see it.
Yes, I think that's a big part of it. And as far as being the person facilitating the yoga classes and the person playing a set, you're holding space for other people. So when I'm teaching, I feel like I'm really conscious of the energy in the room. So that'll influence the tone of my voice. That'll influence what I lead people through next. If I feel like the energy needs to come down because it's a little too high, I'll change the flow of the practice. And when I'm playing, I feel the same way. So I'm trying to be conscious of where the energy's going. I try to, bring people to a more grounded place if that seems to be the need. And if I think people are ready to continue to rise, then the music will change to support that.
Got
So
it.
I think that they're very much in line. I took it up, though, because I just wanted to be able to produce my own musical recordings.
Yeah.
For my yoga classes, and then it just organically, because I've got friends like you
Yeah.
and other people in the scene, I was invited to play publicly, and that was definitely not my intention with DJing.
Okay. Yeah, and not having been to a yoga retreat before and coming to yours, that's the kind of retreat I would like to go to because I'm very newbie beginner at yoga, and the fact that there is music, there's socializing, there is drinks if you want. It's a full experience, and then you being able to curate the music and really create a total experience for your guests. I mean, yeah, I think it totally makes sense, and I mean, I could tell by everybody that was there, they were all loving it. They were in the zone. It was amazing. The energy was incredible.
Thank you.
Totally, yeah, yeah, and so with you starting the DJing thing and people kind of feeling it was a conflict of interest or whatnot, like what did you have to let go of? Like what was the next step for there? Because now you're DJing clubs every now and then. You're DJing here at the festival. You're going to be DJing in Montreal for the event that I'm hosting, so super excited about that. I mean, it's taking you all over now. You have opportunities to travel. I mean, did you ever think that
amazing.
DJing
Thank
would
you for
go?
summarizing it like that, because sometimes I don't pause to
Oh man, it's amazing.
look at it. Yeah. So, what's your question?
So you're traveling now. You're
Yeah.
getting booked all over. I mean, I know you mentioned there was an Ibiza gig coming up. I mean, did you think that when you started DJing it would go this way?
I did not think that it was going to go this way, and I'm just basically trying to go with the flow and go with what seems to be the natural route. And by natural route, I mean what opportunities are being placed in my lap that I feel some enthusiasm around. So I feel like when you're in alignment, when things are good for you, they land relatively easily. And so I'm putting my faith in that. I'm not trying to manipulate the direction of any of it. I'm not. I'm just going with the flow, and it feels good. I'm meeting a lot of amazing people. It's supportive, like financially, it's lucrative, like that's a bonus,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Yeah,
how do
so
you make a decision to go with something, call it the flow or whatnot? Like, how do you trust your intuition, or what guides your decision making process?
that's a really good question. Okay, well, I trust that we all have a kind of inner GPS system. So for me, I try to tap into that, and the way in which I personally tap into that is I pray. I pray a lot. So
They say that the heart has its own intuition, but the heart can think and feel things before the mind. And that's something that I've been learning about lately. And it really comes from living from an open heart.
I totally agree with you. So
Yeah.
this is the practice. The practice is, and I think yoga, and I think music, and I think nature, and I think dance, do that. Those things get us out of our head and into a place where I think there's a greater intelligence.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, we are so in our heads, we are so disconnected from our heart that our mind is where our fears, our judgments, our doubts, our conditioning lives. And our heart knows what we want intuitively, and then our mind kicks in. And, there's truth when it says follow your heart, or, when you do something that you're like, no, my heart wasn't into it. Like, I'm now understanding what this thing means to follow the
Totally.
heart, because I've been so logical and always trying to rationalize, and always, like we were talking about earlier, like just eating a patty because I want to eat a patty. Before, it's like, how many calories, how many carbs, what am I training, how much protein? Like protein was such a big focus for me that I was robbing myself of doing the thing I love most, which is eating. It's
I think
so
that
crazy.
I think that the healthiest people are people that that are being mindful about their decisions. So they're not, you're not completely careless or without logic or any sense of practicality, but you're giving yourself permission to go with what intuitively pulls you, that causes no harm to anybody else. And I think that is a recipe for a healthy, long life. I see that. I look at people of different ages, especially people that are older, and I wonder about why they're healthy and how they got there. And I think that it's healthy to have some discipline, but when we live from a place of feeling authentic in our decisions and our choices, it fosters health, and it just keeps you. It makes you more alive, basically.
Yeah.
And when it comes to food, as an example, I love to eat. I studied chef training. I eat a lot, and I'm a pretty small person. And I had this conversation with a friend the other day. I think that if you're going to consume something and you're going to feel bad about it because your mind is telling you all of this about it, you're going to digest it. You're going to digest it in a way that's not good for you. But if you're having something to eat and you're feeling good about it because it's, serving your happiness or your joy, I think you're going to digest it in a different way. I think that your cells respond to your mind. So
that's an interesting theory, and maybe that's why the people in Italy or France eat bread and pasta all day long and they're still thin, because
they don't feel guilty about
they're
it.
eating and they're enjoying it. That's interesting. So next time I have a pizza, I'm just gonna not beat myself up about it and just go
enjoy
for it.
the pizza.
So you said something a couple of times, and even in past you've said it, and I never really quite understood what it meant until recently, and that's holding space for others. Like, I kind of got it, like, it's holding space. Like, you're kind of providing an opportunity for people to share and open, and and you're there to support them in that. And I understood the concept theoretically, but during my first retreat that I led in Costa Rica in March, I really got what holding space meant, because, first off, my retreat was 8 people. And I am responsible for 8 people's vacation or experience for the next 8 days. And when taking someone on what I like to call a transformational travel experience, there's an intention that each person during that week, they're going to have a moment where they had that shift in reality, and all of a sudden their perspective is just like, sometimes it smacks them upside their head. Like, whoa, wait a minute. And that can be quite jarring. And we are there to support them with that and listen to them and let them know it's okay. And it's draining and it's very rewarding, and I get it now. I totally understand what it means to hold space. And I also know next time I will give myself 3 or 4 days after the retreat to do nothing, because you need that time to just for yourself.
Take a couple before too, if you can. Have give yourself a chance to land in the environment, if possible. The actual space where you're going to be holding your retreat. I think that's a pretty big deal. But I really appreciate how you describe that, because I see that transformation, and with that being such a big intention of yours
Mm-hmm.
and wishing to support other people through theirs, it's not always a smooth process. A lot of emotions come up for people
Yeah,
before
yeah.
they hit the other side.
And you need to be strong for them.
You need to be strong
Yeah.
for them. You need to be grounded. I've
Yeah.
been on retreats where from the purest place in someone's heart, they were facilitating the retreat, but they were not grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And so when their guests started to get into their sort of like, I guess, difficult moments and
Yeah.
places, they were not grounded, and it kind of threw the whole thing off.
Okay.
You know, if you weren't really
Yeah.
struggling through something, that the energy around you, because there was no sense of grounding, kind of made you feel rocked too.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important as a facilitator.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and definitely value your advice and guidance, because I know you've done this many times, and I'm sure you've had to learn a few things kind of the hard way as well, right?
Yeah.
With going through the process.
And insecurities too. Like I wonder about your experience in that. I've been in moments where I'm leading a retreat, everything's going great, and for some reason, you know, I'll have a specific conversation with someone, or a class I just led, or a talk that was just had, might spark my own insecurities.
Okay.
And then I have to kind of bring myself back to center.
Yeah.
Did you have anything like that?
Yeah, so I had a couple of work-related things come up while I was there that kind of threw me off a bit, and I had to ground or center myself with just the realization that the intention of this experience is for me to have people have a shift in perspective. I'm providing them with an experience that's going to allow them to disconnect from their lives, reconnect with themselves, and discover what really matters most to them. And regardless of what I'm dealing with, my intention is to be that person for them and just stand strong in that place. And I did try to do my best for it, and I had moments where I might have got a bit snarky when someone lost the car key to the rental car and they had to fly one in from San Jose, and I paid $500 for it. But hey, these things happen, trial and error, right? Yeah, watch the car keys. It happens, you know, and anytime something kind of got to me, I just got centered again and was just like...
How do you get centered?
Just remembering that I want these people to go home touched, moved, and inspired in a way that they weren't when they arrived. You know, and one by one, each person had their moment. Mm-hmm. And that just made me feel that much more powerful, that much more intentional, purposeful. You know, like one of our friends, Jesse Calabro, ziplined for the first time in his life. He has a paralyzing fear of heights. Wow. And he got off and he was like, I don't know when I've ever felt this free before. Wow. And to see someone, a grown man who would never, he said, I would never have done this if it wasn't for this group of people. You know, to hear our friend Rob say that he's canceling the deposit on his new $3 million sports car because he wants to buy a home in Costa Rica because this will make him happier than some fancy car back home. To see people have their own shifts and realize they can let go of things that don't serve their true happiness, and that I could play a role in that. I mean, for me, that was just, yeah. The trip itself rocked me in such a way that I was like, I was able to make some tough decisions about my businesses so that I can focus on doing more of this in the world and hopefully being that person for hundreds or thousands of others, maybe, you know? So it was amazing. I loved it. And now I see why you do it and why you love it so much.
Well, and everybody's your teacher, you know? So yeah. I'm sure there's no coincidence in the 8 people that landed on your retreat. And as much as you're the person holding space, for the most part, you're teaching each other, you know, and you're open. Obviously, you're all coming in with some sense of open-mindedness. So I think it's really amazing that you came back with your own realizations and ways and things that you wanted to do to change in your life. Yeah, that was a very surprising takeaway. And you're right, it was absolutely perfect. It was the most motley crew ever, you know, a bunch of random friends and strangers. And, you know, they arrived as strangers and left as family, and it was beautiful. I'm sure they did. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
good for you.
This path that you're on, this journey and the way things have evolved, it's been amazing to watch. And what do you think is next? Where where do you see this all going? Like, what's next for you with DJing or with the retreats, or what's it that you want to create?
Well, I am. It's hard to say specifically. You know, I know what I love. I've actually come to be more clear on that. You know, there's been times in the last couple of years that I've looked at what I'm doing and I've asked myself why I'm doing it. Because things come up, right? Like conversations come up that are influenced by culture, society, family history. Like there's just so many influences around us. So I've started to ask myself some questions that I hadn't.
Okay.
When the momentum really started to pick up. I was just riding the momentum, and I am absolutely certain that these things, so you know, leading yoga retreats, continuing to educate myself in different movement healing practices, and music are very, very important to me. I stand in my power when I'm doing those things, and I'm the healthiest version of myself. I'm the best version of myself for other people around me when that's what I'm doing. So I know that I'm going to keep doing it. The specific next step, I'm not absolutely certain on, but I'm going to keep feeding.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep feeding what I feel is really positive right now.
Yeah, and
sure.
it'll just show up.
I
The
think
universe
so.
is just going to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, bring it to you, and that's one thing I've learned. Much like what you said, that when you're living in alignment, the right people come into your life, or come back into your life. You know, the right opportunities show up, and yeah, and you just have to listen to your heart and follow what's right. I mean, and let go of the things that don't serve you anymore, because
You gotta just, yes. And to that, I guess an overall attitude of mine right now is that really everything is vibration. So if you can get clear on what things, activities, books, people that you can immerse yourself in or be around that create an elevation in your mood, your spirit, that's impacting your vibration. So to do more of that, so that your vibration is in its clearest, most positive magnetic state, then you can trust that the things that are not good for you kind of just fall away, and you don't have to then hold on.
Yeah.
Like you can let go of resistance and grasping if you have that level of trust. And then the things that are good for you, that support your, I guess, bigger picture ambitions, your health, your happiness, your self-expression, those things come to you. And
Yeah.
I really believe that. I really believe our responsibility is to manage our vibration overall.
Yeah.
And that impacts everybody around us. And it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you feel good.
totally, yeah. and stop listening to the head so much.
Yeah.
You know, let the heart
Yeah.
lead you. You know, one of the tough things, well, I'd say tough, I guess it's not easy, but is letting go of certain people that don't see. Like for me, one of the people who I used to consider one of my best friends, I don't even really talk to anymore, you know, and there's nothing wrong with him or how he's living his life. It's just not aligned with who I am and what I want. And I don't think we quite realize how having certain people or certain elements in our life that aren't serving our intention can really weigh us down, you know. And that's been a little tough, because obviously I think back and reminisce about times, or the good times or memories I had together. But at the same time, it's about finding your tribe, finding your community, finding those that are as crazy as you are, and creating something special with them. Because in the moments where you are in transition and you're wondering, am I crazy? Should I really be doing this? When you've got 5, 10, 20 other people who are just as crazy as you, it's just
your vibe
Yeah.
attracts your tribe, and
Yeah.
it's super cliche,
Yeah.
and it's on like every T-shirt right now.
Yeah. But it makes sense.
But it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Your vibe attracts your tribe, your experiences, and so just go with it.
Yeah.
Letting go of the resistance to that natural kind of like turnaround. Nothing should be forced,
Yeah.
especially relationships, whether
Yeah.
it's friendship, work, romantic. I believe that that good things aren't forced.
Totally.
There's an ease, a peacefulness that we deserve to have in our experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I think is pretty amazing is how we've all kind of reconnected after so many years, with Eric, coming back in the mix, yourself, you and Eric working together, obviously Ralph, it almost feels like, the good old days to some
This
degree.
is a beautiful reunion.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It's a beautiful reunion.
Next year will be 20 years that we all came together and started
Amazing.
ZRF.
That's amazing.
For those that don't know, that's Zark, Ralph, and Friends, and Carmelinda was like one of the first friends, Gino, Ralph, Carmelinda, Tall Tony, Eric, Marky Mark, Marlo, of course. Marlo's been there since day one. And yeah, 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, we, all came together and started throwing these parties. And now we're throwing parties in a different way.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I've already started thinking about what can we do for the big 20-year anniversary. We got to do something special.
Yeah, we're going to do something special.
Yeah. We have to start.
Like, we're going somewhere exotic.
Yeah? You want to do it somewhere? Like elsewhere? Let's do Costa Rica.
Yeah, I would really like to do that. I love this.
Yeah.
I think we should throw a reunion retreat.
Yeah, reunion retreat.
Oh my God.
I like
we're
that.
Throwing a reunion retreat.
You heard it first. You heard it first. A reunion retreat is happening April 2019.
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, I like it. For anybody that's dealing with a transition, anybody that's dealing with their own challenge, obviously we all have our challenges. I'm going through a big transition. You're going through a big transition. And we're all going through something. And what advice would you give someone who's just, in a place where they're looking for guidance, they're looking for that next, stage of their life?
I would say be patient with yourself first, and expect ebbs and flows in your tone and mood and emotion if you're moving through any big transition, and do the things that help you get connected with your center, because I authentically believe, whether it's meditation, whether it's dancing, rage dancing, running, do more of those things that get you internally focused, because there is an intelligence that lives inside of you, not in your head, where you have old belief systems and other people's views, voices, and opinions, but somewhere deeper in you. I really believe that if we can land there, we would all live much more authentic lives, and we'd be healthy, happy, and that would support the health and happiness of those around us. So connect with your center.
Amazing. Cool. That's great advice, and definitely something that I'm learning and trying to adopt. And it's amazing, this whole process of transformation. It seems to be a common conversation these days.
Because your vibe attracts your tribe.
There you go.
These are the people you're meeting, so you can have these conversations.
Well, I'm glad we're part of the same tribe.
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you.
It's been an amazing journey, and we have another 20 years to go. Yeah.
Why just 20?
Oh, way more than 20. We have many.
Why
20, 30, 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.